Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemns a suspected chemical weapons attack against a rebel-held Syrian province of Idlib, in which at least 58 people were killed, including 11 children. The European Union has expressed frustration with Israel over its demolition of Palestinian homes in the West Bank, even though the structures that were funded by the European Union were built illegally. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi continues his official state visit to Washington, during which he is seeking U.S. support in combating an Islamic insurgency in the Sinai Peninsula, a lawless part of Egypt that borders the state of Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned a suspected chemical weapons attack against a rebel-held Syrian province of Idlib, in which at least 58 people were killed, including 11 children.
When I saw the images of babies suffocating from a chemical attack in Syria, I was shocked and outraged. There's no excuse whatsoever for the deliberate attack on civilians and on children, especially with cruel and outlawed chemical weapons. I call on the international community to fulfill its obligation from 2013 to fully and finally remove these horrible weapons from Syria.
The alleged use of chemical weapons in the rebel-held district is just one in a series of similar reports during the course of the Syrian conflict, which entered last month into its 7th year. In August of 2012, then U.S. President Barack Obama threatened military action against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad if the regime would attempt to deploy or use chemical or biological weapons, defining its use as a red line for the United States. Nevertheless, the former American president backed down from taking military action in Syria after Moscow assured Washington that it would oversee a destruction process of the chemical and biological weapons in the possession of the Syrian government based on UN Security Council Resolution 2118, a move that received full compliance from Assad's regime. Some 2 years after the initial threat of military action in August of 2014, all of the most toxic chemicals that have been declared by the Syrian government had been destroyed offshore. Nevertheless, Western officials expressed concerns at the time about the completeness of Syria's disclosures, believing that the Assad regime would continue to use chlorine gas, which is a common industrial chemical that was not part of the disarmament agreement. With regard to the alleged attack in the Idlib province, even though Western countries, including Washington, laid the blame on Syrian government forces, Damascus strongly denied the allegations, stressing that the Syrian military did not use any such weapons. Russia backed the position of the Syrian government, laying the blame on rebel forces operating in that area, including the al-Qaeda-linked Jabhat Fatah al-Sham, which Moscow said had its own chemical arsenal.
Вчера в период с 11:30 до 12:30 местного времени сирийская авиация нанесла удар в районе восточной окраины населенного пункта Хан-Шейхун по крупному складу боеприпасов террористов и скоплению военной техники. На территории этого склада находились цеха по производству фугасов, начиняемых отравляющими веществами. Данные боеприпасы с отравляющими веществами также использовались боевиками в сирийском Алеппо, когда их применение было зафиксировано в конце прошлого года российскими военными специалистами. Симптомы пострадавших от отравления в Хан-Шейхуне на видеокадрах в соцсетях точно такие, как были осенью прошлого года у пострадавших в городе Алеппо.
An emergency meeting of the UN Security Council was held today on the matter of the Idlib attack, during which a heated debate ensued between the ambassadors of the United States and Russia. Ambassador Nikki Haley reiterated previous allegations leveled by the White House against the Assad regime in Moscow, while the Russian ambassador Pyotr Ilychov reiterated Moscow's position, in which the Syrian airstrike targeted a rebels' weapons cache that stored chemical weapons. Prior to the Security Council meeting, UN envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, demanded accountability for the chemical attack and called for an inquiry by watchdogs such as the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons.
What we have understood, it was a chemical attack, and it came from the air. We have been, and we will be stimulating all those who have the capacity of finding out technically what it happened. OPCW is an obvious, for instance, a candidate for doing so, in order to be able to be much more precise. What we do know is that it was a horror.
Now back to Israel, where the European Union has expressed frustration with Israel over its demolition of Palestinian homes in the West Bank. In a meeting at the Foreign Ministry in Jerusalem, EU Ambassador to Israel Lars Faaborg Andersen delivered a stern diplomatic message, saying Israel was failing in its international legal obligations and needed to change its policy. The message by the EU came after Israel issued demolition orders last month against 42 homes in the Bedouin village of Khan el-Ahmar, east of Jerusalem, where EU member states Belgium and Italy have funded a school and helped build structures without Israeli consent for the local population of around 150. Israel responded to the EU's message, stressing that illegal construction was dealt with according to the law and that Israel was perplexed by the EU's obsessive involvement in the matter. The clampdown against the village of Khan el-Ahmar, located in a sensitive area of the West Bank that Israel has earmarked for its own settlement expansion, is the latest in a series of demolitions that have been roundly condemned by the EU and the United Nations. Now to Washington, where Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Paul Ryan and House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi in Congress. The meeting came after the Egyptian leader met with his American counterpart, President Donald Trump, during which they committed to work closely together on further combating radical Islamic organizations in the Middle East. The official state visit by President Sisi was the first since being elected in 2014, as Trump's predecessor, former President Barack Obama, never extended an invitation. Obama, who at the time clearly supported the Egyptian leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, ignored the fact that President Mohamed Morsi was seeking to widen his executive powers and sought to secure his rule for many years to come. After a military coup during which President Sisi, then a general of the Egyptian military, overthrew President Morsi in mid-2013 after mass public protests, Obama froze aid to Egypt for some 2 years, an act that has shifted Cairo's policy from Western reliance, seeking new partners in the East, including China and Russia. That said, since President Donald Trump has taken office, Egypt is once again seeking to bolster bilateral relations with Washington as it needs American backing in efforts to combat an Islamic insurgency in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, a common interest of the United States and its closest ally in the Middle East, the State of Israel. Thank you for watching us. You can also watch us at TV7israelnews.com or TV7.fi. For any comments, please send your emails to israelnews@tv7.fi. For more updates from Israel and the region, please join our Facebook page at TV7 Israel News. Praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Jonathan Hassan. Have an Erev Tov, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.
In order to donate to TV7 Israel News, please follow these simple steps. First, press the Donate logo, located at the bottom left side of TV7 Israel News Facebook page, or on the Donate tab at the head of the page. Then insert the amount you'd like to donate, and fill in your credit card information. Just like this. And press Review Donation and continue. After reviewing your donation details, please press Donate to finalize your donation. That's it! Your donation is now complete, and an email with your donation details has been sent to your email address. You can also print your donation receipt by pressing the link here. Thank you for supporting TV7 Israel News.